your spouse? I mean, I'm sitting here listening to you guys, and I'm thinking about years 1 through 5 of my marriage. I was 23 when I got married. I was still in college when I got married. I'm a member of a sorority, so there were, and I pledged right before I got married. So that's why when I told you guys earlier, I have a story for this. When my anniversary for me, crossing into my sorority, when it comes up every year, normally I hang out with my line sisters. Shout out to FD9. And I remember one year we were going to stay downtown. We were going to get a hotel room, whatever. And my husband was just like, "This is not a good idea. I don't want you to stay downtown with them." And so, being a young wife, being early in my marriage, I was very oppositional. It was like I had not learned that we were like on the same team. It was okay, I'm team wife, but I got to preserve my individuality away from you. So it's like, okay, you can't tell me where I can't lay my head at night. And long story short, it caused a really big argument between us. I ended up staying with them overnight. Um, and it caused a really, really big argument. And so what I had to learn how to do was my husband knows everyone that I spend time with. Like there are layers and boundaries and levels to my associations and my friendships and my relationships with people outside of, my marriage. And so now it's more so like we have, when you value something, you live your life in a way where you're protecting what you value. And I think over the years, these last 17 years, we've clearly shown each other that we value each other. So now it's gone from, okay, who you hanging out with tonight, or when is this event, or who gonna be there, or why you didn't invite me, to, okay, babe, have a good time. You look really, really great. You smell good. Have a good time. And some people would say, well, they don't really care about each other. But I think it's just the evolution of our relationship. Like we're more secure when one of us goes out. Um, I do go out with friends. My thing is I watch out for my girlfriends as it relates to like alcohol and substance use. Because obviously for what I do for a living, that never turns off, being a substance abuse counselor. So I'm always encouraging people to like use your Uber and Lyfts. We don't leave no girls behind. you know um a lot of my people in my circle are married, so I do try to, when I have a girls night out, I have to explain sometimes to some of my single friends that, listen, you know you can go home at 3 a.m. right now, but I have a child, I have a husband, I got to be up early. So, and I told my husband I would be back at 1:30. So it's already a quarter to one. I need to be making my way to the door. That's me. Um, I found that now that, and I joke with people and say I live kind of a boring life, but my girls' nights are more so about the break that I can take from being a wife, a mom, a therapist, and just letting my hair down, which might include me doing a paint night, taking dancing lessons. I like to try new stuff. So not to not going to the club, but I was in college, pledged. I've evolved from that lifestyle. Like that's just not my thing anymore. So I do different things. So I think that the boundaries just kind of evolve with your partner as your relationship grows with your partner. And then there's some things that we agreed with day one of marriage that we know we hold true today. One of our things is ain't nobody coming back home. That's not for us. That's not for us. We both agreed to that. It wasn't, because normally when you hear a wife say that, most guys are like, oh, she made that up, or she just putting her foot down about that. But that's just something that's not our thing.
Okay.
So I think that it's about having a conversation, communication, but I do think those boundaries evolve as you grow in a relationship. I mean, obviously, the woman I was at 23, I'm not that woman at 40. So, it evolves as you guys grow.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Mrs. Jovo. Rashad, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll answer kind of from a different perspective because I feel like at marriage, by that time, the two probably know each other, have gained that trust, and they kind of know what they can and can't do, have those boundaries set. So I'll answer from like a perspective of like if you're starting a relationship or just going into a relationship with someone. So like say if you're already a party person, you like to go out every night, whether it's boys nights, girls nights, or you just like to go out period with people. I would just say in general, a good rule of thumb is like if you're looking to be in a serious relationship or establish a serious relationship with somebody, I would say it's probably best to like dive that down to really establish a good relationship. Because I'm sure most of you agree, like being in a relationship, especially starting out, like going to the clubs every weekend and stuff like that, it's not a good look. You're probably not going to establish something good in that aspect. So that would be the advice I'd give to somebody, just starting a relationship and, especially if it's causing problems, like, just kind of scale that back some and kind of just focus on building the relationship. And then later on down the line, once you, build that, togetherness, then, y'all can, kind of have a little more of that freedom once that trust is built. I will say, I do want to add this though, like, being in a relationship and stuff, and like say like your partner meets a new friend, like a coworker or something, and wants to go out with the coworker. As a guy, I will say to the ladies, we know who y'all whole friends are. So if we're like, it's like if we see the girls who are like, man, I don't know if you should go out with her. She kind of seemed like out there. I would say probably
we know who your whole friends are too. All of your friends.
I agree.
You don't want no friends? We gonna start doing that?
Yes, same day.
Yeah, I can go bowling and bowling only.
Yeah, so like, I would say with new friends too, like, I would say it's best to try to, get to know each other, because again, you're moving as a couple, so get to know each other together, and then so you can establish that relationship. But from the husband's perspective or the wife's perspective, or the boyfriend girlfriend, if like you said, Cannon, if it's a whole guy friend, and from the man's perspective, like, man, I don't trust her, you can't be going out with her, shouldn't be going out with her, I would say it's okay to have that conversation and respect your partner's perspective or vision of that, because guys know when we looking, and women know when they're looking at guys. So I would say that's my 2 cents with that.
So would you not go out with your guy friend if he is a womanizer or a playboy? You just would stop yourself from going out with your guy friend? You'd be like, no, sir, I'm not going to do this.
I mean,
you're
if
a womanizer, I can't be, I can't go out with you.
If it's a regular thing, yeah, honestly, probably not.
No, I don't mean a regular thing. I'm just saying, like you just said, if the woman got a whole friend, then you're going to be like, nah, you can't go out with her. So do you hold yourself to the same standard? You don't go out with your promiscuous guy friends?
My friends are lame, so I guess not. I don't know. I mean, I guess it'd be up to my lady, if she didn't feel comfortable with it.
No, it's up to you, because you said that you right.
What? That's what it always is. If a girl says I don't have no whole friends, that means she's the whole friend. Everybody knows this. Stop playing with guys. Everybody knows that's exactly what
she said. No,
it does not.
Right. Somebody in the chat says some of y'all wrong about who the hoes are. Right. Your girl might be the whole friend. Why are you talking crazy? I don't want you out with them. Why you think we hanging? Birds of a feather.
Then get bamboozled. Yeah, very true. Very true.
All right. So last but certainly not least, Joseph, what do you think?
So I think my rule of thumb is like, whatever I'm doing in public, if I'm in a relationship, I'm reflecting you. So I have to be cognizant of how I carry myself, who I'm out with, where we're going. I think at 40, going out to the club and that stuff is not typically the guy's night out thing. We might take trips out of the country for a weekend or for a week. It looks different. Being the social person that I am, any woman that I'm with knows I got a lot of women around me at some point. Guys' night turned into all night, men and women. And being an extrovert that I am, it's like I'm communicative. So I'm going to tell you what I'm doing, who I'm with, I'm reporting, because I think, again, a healthy relationship is healthy communication and understanding your mate. So I think if I want to be respected when I'm there or not, I have to hold myself to that same accountability.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's a good thing too.
Yeah. I have some follow-up questions. So for all of you, as usual, right? But I wanted to go back to what Darwin and a little bit of what Cannon said. So Darwin, it sounds like getting numbers is okay, right?
No. Getting numbers is not okay. But if I get a number, I have to let her know now,
Okay.
Because this is the thing. If I get a number, it's not because I approached her and I want to get a number to take her out. It's probably we was in conversation and she was like, "Oh, let me get your number," and this, and I was like, "Okay, cool, boom." And that's that. You know what I'm saying? The night's going well, everybody's cool.
When this happened?
Hey, we want to talk about Thunder Pussy? Nah. And so numbers is me getting numbers is not okay. But in the if I was to get a number in that type of situation, then me being transparent with her is how I ease my conscience, because she doesn't have to know. I don't have to tell her. That's the thing. I don't have to tell her. She doesn't have to know, because I could just delete the number and I never hear from the girl anyways, right? But if I'm at home, I'm talking about my night with the guys and this and that, and my wife is like a spy. So if I'm talking about, she knows when I'm leaving stuff out. Like she knows.
We don't put tape on his mouth for the rest of the night.
If
you haven't figured out their husband and wife.
But the other thing, to be fair though, we have known each other since we were 13 and we were friends for a long time. So we probably talk to each other in a way that a lot of people who are spouses don't, because we were friends.
Evolution, right? Evolution.
Yeah.
Grow but some of it is still like y'all kids, and this my homie, but this my husband.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. and it's all about transparency. My wife has she sets my phone up, Facebook passwords, everything. So me getting a number, she can find out if she wanted to anyways, right? So it's just the point of us having a conversation about how my night went and what I did is the reason the number thing will ever come up. And if I tell her, I tell her, but she wouldn't be too mad, because she's more on honesty than how something looks. You know what I'm saying? Like some people always look at something and be like, "Oh, that's the worst thing possible that could ever happen. My husband just got a number when he was out." Okay, is that bad? It's really not. When you look at it on the surface, it looks bad, but when you dive deep into it and why he got the number, and if you're an adult, it's plenty of reasons why a man can get another woman's number while you're out. We have businesses, we have a lot of things that we have going on. So me having a conversation with a woman can lead to other things than just me wanting to get in her draws, which is not on my mind when I'm out with my friends. So, and I think my wife knows that, she trusts that, and I'm comfortable with telling her, yeah, I was out, we met some women, we was talking, I got a number, and that's what it is, So, it's better than me hiding something innocent,
Okay. How do you fellas feel about that? How do you feel about it, or what do you think about it? And have you all ever had that be kind of like an issue in your relationships?
Particularly getting a number? What's the question specifically, Ashley?
So like what are your thoughts about it? Like what are your boundaries around numbers, getting numbers or giving your number?
If I'm in a relationship, right?
Yeah.
If I'm in a relationship, I don't see the need for me to exchange numbers. I can do business through email or through LinkedIn. There are multiple ways of communication in 2022 to get in contact with someone. So it's just, if you set that up and you talk to your wife or your significant other that, I collect phone numbers for professional purposes and they're okay with that. Mm-hmm. I think sometimes we put what we would do on other folks. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of subjective things that we throw at people as opposed to letting people make their own decisions in their relationships. So what works for Joe may not work well for Darwin or Rashad. So I can only speak on my own behalf. And I believe for me, I wouldn't take a phone number if I'm in a relationship that's serious. If she on her way out, I might need to collect something. I might try to build something else and, see what happens. But I'm an opportunist in some aspects.
Okay, Rashad.
We all know everybody cheat on Instagram anyway. So,
and LinkedIn and Facebook.
So get numbers is like
What?
Yeah. So you're asking like if how we would feel if our woman got a number if she's out or gave her number,
or basically.
So
or will you accept numbers or give your number?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I could say my girl wouldn't be really cool with it, but so yeah, I would say it's not something you should pursue, but kind of like Darwin, you know, what he said, it happens sometimes. I mean, last time I was out, went to a strip club or whatever, a stripper just took my phone and put her number in it or whatever, but I know she was trying to finesse and all that stuff. And I told my lady, so it's like, you know,
but he ain't got no whole friends. Exactly. Stop it. Stop playing.
It was just for fun. But yeah, again, it's like just keep communication. Like, you know, when I go out, which I don't go out a lot at all, so it's just like you just tell them about your night, and it's like, yeah, we did this and did this, and, you know, the stripper put her number in my phone, and you know, just kind of just make it, you know, cool, chill. But you know, Joseph, what you said about, you know, just exchanging numbers for businesses and stuff, I feel like, again, this is just, you know, my relationship, my experience. I almost feel like even my girl wouldn't even go for that. It's like, oh yeah, I got, you know, 5 numbers tonight at the club for business purposes. I don't even know if I can get away with that. Go ahead.
The thing is, at the end of the day, you cannot control what other person is going to do. And if they are intent to, you know, cheat or do whatever, they're going to do it. So there's really like, what are you gonna do? Like,
in the daytime.
Right? Like, just they gonna make it happen. So
we're sleeping with the milkman. So obviously they didn't need the internet or a cell phone. The milkman was dropping off milk and feed. So you know.
Yeah, I feel like I said, there are boundaries, right? And there's certain boundaries, but they just, in my opinion, just kind of have to make sense. Like arbitrary things like, okay, you can message somebody on Facebook, but you can't text message them. Like, what's the difference? Like, you can, the same consequence can take place. It's still communication, right? To me, it's more about, just like I said, reason, record, circumstance. Like, there are a couple things. Now, I do feel like there are things that you can play around with that can lead you into cheating, right? That even if that's something that you didn't intend to do. So I think you do have to be careful with those types of boundaries. But just like the kind of arbitrary things to be like, oh, as long as you come in the house by 11, that means you didn't cheat. Or as long as you didn't get like that, don't like those things don't. If somebody want to cheat, like that's what they're gonna do. So like it just is what it is.
And the thing is this: if I take the number, I have a decision to call this woman. Now, if I give her my number, then I'm letting her know you can call me and it's okay for us to communicate. So that's not happening. I'm not getting phone calls from different women. If I take the number, I can easily just delete it. I won't ever hear from her again. Now, if I get my number out, she could possibly text me, call me, or whatever the case may be. And that's where the difference is, you know, because I don't tend to talk to her ever again. So she doesn't need my number for her to accidentally call me or text me or whatever the case may be. If I get a number, I know I'm not gonna call her. So that's why I'm comfortable with telling my wife, like, yeah, I got a number, you know, it's getting deleted anyway. So, you know, and I mean, it's all about if you intend on communicate with somebody, you just go, that's just what it is. You're going to communicate with them, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever the case may be, you're going to communicate with them. You don't have to get a phone number to do it. You can email a person, like you said. You can email. You can send a letter in the mail. It doesn't matter. If the guy wants to cheat, there's no way a woman can stop her from cheating, point blank. So me getting a number, accepting number, or the new line is Instagram. What's your Instagram? And that's how people can. I don't have Instagram. I don't have none of that. Like I said, my wife has all my information, but I don't. When I go out, I go out to have a good time. And, you know, if I got to play wingman sometimes, I play wingman for the greater of all good for the guys, you know. And
okay.
But that's why keeping an open line of communication, in my opinion, is so important. Because I will say, like for us being friends for so long, right? And the type of relationship that we have, like you just communicate. Like there's also times where you may have to reset a boundary, or you may have to be like, or something may have to be like, okay, that was okay, but that ain't okay.
Quick story. The day we had our daughter, We was in the hospital, and I said, I'm about to go get us something to eat. So I go to Chili's, and I'm at the bar, and I order our food to take home, to take back to the hospital, and I'm sitting there, I got a drink. You know, we just had the baby and everything. I'm calling people, telling them, sending pictures and stuff like that. And I'm sitting at the bar, and it's this lady. She's sitting at the bar also. And so the way I was sitting like this. She couldn't see my ring on my finger to know I was married. So we having a conversation, we talking, and we just, you know, we just talking about all types of stuff. She asked me what I do for a living, this and that. We just, you know, just talking. So I put my hand on the table, and she sees my ring. Immediately, you know, and my boyfriend this and my boyfriend that. But at first, she was giving me some serious, you know, play. You know what I'm saying? So, and I do that from time to time because, you know, it's just entertaining to me to do stuff like that, just to see, you know, and I interact with women and this and that. And I told my wife what happened, and she was just like, yeah, that. And it's crazy because she still was like in the midst of that. She was just trying to prove to me that she was wanted also and desired by somebody else also. Like, yeah, I got a boyfriend, this and that, you know. And she just started getting to those type of conversations, but she still wanted to like exchange numbers at the end. Like it was just so crazy that like marriage doesn't even stop things when you're out, you know. So I ended up like, you get more attention when you're out by yourself with a wedding ring on than without.
Which is why you probably have to be careful.
Agreed.
The gateways or the doorways that you open, right?
She said
absolutely.
She said you be doing that gateway flirting.
you do. I mean, she's right though. I mean, she right. You got to think about why people said boundaries in the first place. What is a boundary? A boundary is to define, in some cases, to protect. So it's like, you know, I'm off the bat with mine. I noticed your wedding ring. Yeah, I'm married. How about you? You in a relationship with somebody? And I mean, some of my single friends, I had one particular single friend. She just like, we ain't gonna get a drink because your ring. And I'm like, baby, if you can't get a drink on your own, separate from me, then it ain't got nothing to do with me. That's more so about you than it is me. Okay. And then, or for me, it's the energy that the guys start giving once they find out you married. Then it's like, oh, you know, well, okay, you know, even their voice changes sometimes. But for me, I'm not out, you know, trying to shoot a shot anyway. So, you know, I'm just out having a good time. So, you know, get your
Karen.
Thank you. I was gonna say,
sometimes
their voice don't be changing. It be the same voice. It be like, well, you can have some friends, you know?
Right? He don't let you have friends. We can't. No, we can't. You want to die? I don't want to die either.
It's crazy. Like, and then like, you know, another angle at this is, you know, with the girls' nights limits and the boys' nights limits. You know, it's some really strange people out there. Some really weird people. You know, I'm all about awareness. You know, I for what I do for a living, I hear so many stories about women who took things, you know, too far, or men who took things too far, or you engage in the wrong person, or, you know, you're not being aware. And let me just say that you're not being fully aware or really conscious of who you talking to and what their purpose and what their goals are. You know, I had a friend in college who, you know, she nearly cussed me. We nearly fell out as friends because I told her that, okay, you done known this guy for like 3 minutes. And now you like, hey, y'all can go on without me. I'm going home with him. Oh, no. And we're not, okay, mind you, we're not in our, we're not in the town where our college is. We out of town, right? We don't know nobody. So, you know, it's one of them spots where it's smaller. So all the locals looking like, oh, them new chicks, let's go holler. And it's like, you know, you don't want me to get nobody just because you got somebody. And it's like, no, you don't know him though, you know. And then, bruh, the next morning you watching the news and bruh on the 6 a.m. news, and you just like, what? He did what? So it's like, and it can happen. And I know that's a far stretch, you know, but I think that, you know, sometimes, I mean, you've heard the stories about ladies' nights that go wrong. I just read a story about a young lady. She contracted HIV during a girls' weekend, you know, and her friends pretty much vetted her or pushed her to deal with this particular guy. Like they were having this kind of free for all, if you will, weekend. And she didn't use protection or anything. It was just like the alcohol got involved, the edibles got involved, the kind of just the free will, and then bam.
That sounds like ecstasy was involved.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's just like
now.
I'm just saying.
So what you do in girls' night or guys' night is not any different from what you would do normally or like as a single person. So I think it's just important to like.
Now I'm gonna tell you, Ashley. I'm gonna tell you.
Oh no!
And there's some people who might disagree with me.
As a single person.
No.
No,
like I used to go out.
I'm just gonna say this: it's a lot of unhappily married people out there who use guys and girls nights to comfort their broken hearts and souls that need to be mended.
But what I'm saying is
it's a mess.
Would probably be something that they would have done before, or no, not necessarily.
Are you saying like that's who they are? No matter where they are, they're going to be who they are.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a girls' night or guys' night, you might be in an environment that makes that a little bit more likely. But I'm saying, like, if you're doing it for girls' night or guys' night, then that's something that's kind of like in you, something you would do. Kind of like when people get drunk, right? Like, you know how people say they're like a different person when they're drunk. Like, yeah, your inhibitions are lower, but you're kind of like more who you really are. Is it not?
No, I disagree with that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I agree with what Ms. Jovo was saying because
I disagree with that
because especially when it comes to being in a relationship, right? Okay, this is the thing I think people fail to understand a lot of times when it comes to like even cheating and stuff like that. Do some people just randomly meet strangers and cheat or something? Maybe, I don't know, one night stands, I don't know. But for most time, if you're going to be cheating with someone, there is some type of relationship there. There's some type of investment there, some type of energy that has gone into that, like either communicating with that person, something. Like most of the time, people is not just randomly meeting people off the wall and then they just like, oh, let's go hop in the bed. So if you can be
that
a
all
person,
depends on where you at.
No, I'm not saying that that's impossible. Yeah, I'm not saying that that's impossible. I'm just saying that most of the time, right, there's some type of establishment of it's not easy to just go out and be like, oh, let me go, da-da-da. That's not how life is just happening, right? So to Ms. Jovo's point, if you're in a committed relationship and you don't engage in those types of behaviors and you don't have any of those types of relationships, then yeah, if you, like she said, if you're nursing a broken heart or you're going through something in that relationship, then yeah, it could be something that you would normally do, but you're trying to get comfort, you're trying to get whatever, and then you can step out of character in that way. So I do agree with her. It doesn't necessarily have to be like, this is what I do, but it could be like, I'm trying to, whatever.
And then you have to think about it too, when you add drugs and alcohol into the mix, it's not that they're becoming who they really are. Impulse goes up, inhibitions go down. And then when your inhibitions are different and then your impulse level is different, then you're changing your thinking patterns about certain situations, and then your attitudes and beliefs, what you believe to be true about the situation you're in, starts to be a little bit more altered because you're not where you normally are mentally. You're not,
So why do people get drunk and like kiss the opposite sex? Because I don't feel like that's not enough liquor to make me go kiss a woman. But people be like, "Oh, I got drunk."
They wanted to do that.
Yeah, so
that impulse, different physical sensations are affected when you are intoxicated and when you have substances in your body. I mean, I can't really explain it because that's not something that I do. But
turned on with. So if sex is drugs makes you get you turned on, get you in a moment. And a woman go kiss a woman, that mean that woman turned on. If a dude go kiss a dude, that mean the dude turned him on. And that ain't got nothing to do with drugs and this and that.
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, I in some instances I have to disagree with y'all on that. I mean, in some instances I have to disagree.
Wait, hold on. What did you say?
As being adults, there's some level of accountability. Like you do that stuff because that's what you want to do. It ain't drugs and alcohol have been around. We've been using them. We've been drinking since 20 something. So if you going home with someone and you raw dog and you catch HIV, there's an accountability with you and your girls. If it's a girl's night out, I mean, why are you letting her go?
Well, the accountability starts with why are you drinking to the point where you're intoxicated to the point where you're not making clear decisions. I mean, the reality of it is that the core issues behind substance use have little to do sometimes with the substances. It has more to do with that person's thinking process and their attitudes and beliefs about what's going on at the moment. I'm glad
you brought that up, Mr. Jovo. So, fellas, when your girls go out, do you like tell them how much they should be drinking, or if you know they're going out with some females that like to just get drunk, do you be like, nah, last time you came home sloppy drunk, I don't want you going out with her. Y'all don't know how to act. Y'all don't monitor each other's liquor or anything like that. Because when you go out with people, you still have to be protective of each other. Everybody's together. Everybody needs to make it home, right? So is it like some groups of friends or some friends that you won't allow your woman to go out with because every time she goes out, she's just too drunk and it just scares you to the thought that she might not get home? Now, does that turn to your responsibility to stop that? Or do you just trust your woman to be like, okay, I trust you this time, even though you fell at the door last time after I trusted you? So do you just like say, nah, you can't go out because, you know, Bukisha going out with you. And last time, the last 3 times y'all went out, she got into a car accident. You know, you came home with a scratch on the car, you know, and stuff like that. What type of boundaries do you set on the drinking and the alcohol and stuff like that? Me personally, I never had a situation where my wife came home too drunk or her friends were too wild or drunk and I heard about it and it just became an unsafe moment. So, but I was just wondering if you and ladies too, do your guys come home or he out fighting when he gets drunk and you be like, you know what? You and Ralph can't hang out no more because y'all always seem to get into these bar fights and I got to bail you out of jail and stuff like that.
That sounds like you're talking from personal experience, sir. I can't tell you can't go out with your family just because you go out and get drunk and be punching people.
I'm married to party boy number 2. I that's my ongoing joke. Like my husband, his roommate, very popular at the college I went to. His roommate played football. I mean, it was nothing to go to their apartment and it's food on the grill, it's alcohol flowing. I mean, they just cooked out and drank and hung out and did in their 20s because that's what they did. But I can remember having a conversation with him at one point where they were binging. And that's what it is. And see, in the Black community, we don't want to call it that. Because, you know, we use alcohol as a coping mechanism for a lot of stuff. Okay. Grief, rejection, and the list goes on and on and on. Okay. So, you know, there is a such thing as binging, you know, but because, you know, we ain't living under bridges, we ain't losing jobs, we ain't losing money, then that means we ain't got a problem. But then if you have a girlfriend or a friend in general, that every time they go out, they can either A, remember what happened the night before, B, they have legal consequences that are always linked to their substances, C, they say they're going to drink a certain amount and then they drink more than what they intended to drink. And this keeps happening over a period of time where these incidents are becoming closer together. That's a problem. You know, that's definitely a problem. I know at that period of time where my husband was binging, one of his best friends, they had lost their brother. They all grew up together. So I had to explain to them that, okay, he gone. How you going to cope with this grief? Because y'all can't keep binge drinking every weekend. Like, this is not the way. And, you know, once they identified this as an issue, once they saw that, okay, this is a problem, okay, then they nipped it in the bud, you know. But you got to call it what it is sometimes. You know, just like with my friend, I told her, I said, look, we're in a new town, we're in a new city. You don't know this guy. And you want us to trust your body with this guy after you've been drinking? No, we're not doing that. Like, and ultimately when I explained it to her like that, because I'm not aggressive, I'm not trying to be your mama when we out, but I'm going to ask you that tough question. How is this going to benefit you though? What are some risks involved in what you're about to do? And once I presented to her like that, you know, she had an attitude, but then that next day it's like, you know what, you had a point, you know, because what if this could have happened? What if that could have happened? You know?
Okay. All right. Well, that was interesting. I did want to ask about curfews because I had a very interesting conversation with someone who was disagreeing with me about curfews, and he was just very adamant that no man should have, you know, a curfew. And I said, well, no, you don't need a curfew, but I do think there's a such thing as like a decent hour to return home if you're married. And he said, well, that's a curfew. And so I wanted to hear what you guys had to say, but I'm going to wrap up this topic. I'll pocket that one, and we can come back to it. So I'm going to go to the next topic. The next topic is regarding Jim Jones. Over-sexualization. Play a clip of Jim Jones speaking about how his mom apparently taught him how to French kiss. Okay, so here is the video. One second.
She showed me everything about sex.
Like what?
My first condoms, shit like that. My mom taught me how to kiss when I was younger.
What did she tell you to do?
She told me how to tongue kiss when I was younger.
Like, what's the instructions?
It wasn't no instructions. She showed me with her mouth. Like she
kissed you?
It's my mother.
No, my parents kissed me, barely kissed me on the cheek.
No,
so
my mom she showed me how to tongue kiss when I was younger. Remember, my mom was 17. She's a baby. Look at all the babies that's having babies now, and look how they act with their babies. It's like they have a little sister or a little brother more than they have.
Did you think tongue kissing was nasty at first? Because the first time somebody tried to tongue kiss me, I thought it was so disgusting.
The first time I tongue kissed a girl. Yeah.
I was like, oh, you spit
my mom's, it didn't faze me. The first time I tongue kissed a girl, I was thrown out.
Did your mom tell you about sex when you were young?
She told me everything about sex.
Like what?
My first condoms. Shit.
All right. So what do you all think about that? Just general thoughts. Who wants to chime in first? I'll let the fellas go first today with this topic. What do you all think? What do you think, Rashad?
So his mom was actually tongue kissing him when he was a kid?
That's what it sounded like, but then I heard apparently his mom did some type of live video where she said he didn't actually kiss her. He kissed the air.
No, we going off what he said.
Instructed him to do it. Yeah. What do you guys?
She trying to do some damage control.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
He know what he did.
I'll just say that don't sound normal at all. That's not normal. At least I don't think it's normal. It shouldn't be normal. I will say that. I don't even know what to say about it. It's just messed up.
Mm-hmm.
When Sean looked shocked, he looked appalled. He like,
I'm like, ugh.
He had to sit back.
You know, I didn't heard mothers overcompensating, but that's just too much right there. You know, you ain't got to teach your son everything. That's just like that's some weird stuff right there, and I don't really know where that comes from. I'm gonna have to pass the mic to Miss Jovo on that one.
The therapist. Well, let's hear from Joseph. What do you think?
Well, I kind of caught the sound bites from social media, and then I heard about the comment being recanted by Jim Jones and his mom. I think it's weird. The first thing I thought about was psychology and the Oedipus complex, where you're in love with your parent and you do or have a sexual association with that because they're your first opposite sex. So it was kind of weird for me to hear, and that's all I got to say. It was weird.
It was troubling for me because I'm like, wow, what did he experience after that? Like, what did he feel like? I just wonder what effect it had on him spiritually and emotionally.
It sounds like emotional incest, even if they didn't physically touch tongues. It sounds like she has some kind of emotional incestual relationship with him, and it's just nasty.
Now watch their reality show, because I did, and I know I can't wait for my turn because I got some theories.
I mean, it's sexual abuse. Yeah. Is it sexual abuse? Y'all think?
I think so. Yeah. I think that it is. I think that some parents, for whatever reason, have issues with boundaries with their children. And they think that, like, some people think like their kid like belongs to them literally, and they could just do like anything. Like, I don't know if you all saw, it was a video with a rapper. I don't know what his name was. I can't remember. It's like one of them newfangled rappers. I don't be into the new raps, so I don't know. But he, like, it was really quick, but it just seemed very inappropriate. Like, he had his son on his lap and he kissed him on his neck, but he had his tongue, like he licked his neck. It was just, and I'm like, I'm not licking my toddler's neck. I don't, like, you know, it's one thing to be affectionate and stuff, but your children learn boundaries about their bodies from you. So you can't just do any old thing to your kid, even if it's not overtly sexual. You have no, you know, ties to that. You still have to be very mindful about teaching your child boundaries about their body, and it starts with you. Like, you have to show them boundaries with their body and respect them. And if you just overstepping and just thinking you can do anything, then you're leaving your kid vulnerable to certain situations. So people just really need to tighten up on that.
I think the over sexualization of boys is very detrimental to our community, because when we're getting these boys, it's kind of like we're preparing them for sex at an early age, right? But we're not even preparing the girls for sex at an early age. We're telling them just don't do it, right? So now we have these over-aggressive boys who think they know what sex is, and they're approaching these little girls, and these little girls, when they hear stuff or see these guys doing stuff, they become uncomfortable. And a lot of times when these young girls come uncomfortable, they shut down. And when they shut down, sometimes they don't say anything, they don't do anything. And in a boy's mind, if she doesn't say no, it's okay. But since we over sexualize the boys, we don't teach them about body language and stuff like that, and try to give them these pointers on, you know, she's uncomfortable. Yeah, I know she didn't say no, but she's tensed up. She's not talking. She's not even looking at you. You know, you should not proceed. You know, and I think when we getting these little boys ready for that, it's bad, because I know a lot of people want to do right thing and like teach their sons about sex, especially the guys. We want to make sure our son is ready for sex, and they putting it down when they do it, and this and that. But it's a time for that, and it's a way you need to do it too. And I don't even know if we need to stop teaching our boys, or do we need to start teaching our girls at an early age? I don't know what method we should do. Like if we should, you know, I definitely think we should teach them at the same time and teach them the same thing. And I think a lot of us just don't try to teach the little girl stuff, because we don't want to see our little girls having sex and stuff like that. We don't even want to think about it. But it's a reality check for us men that, hey, it's natural. They're going to have sex, and we need to get them prepared for it, because these boys, they getting prepared, and we need our little girls to know what that feels like and what it sounds like, so they can be prepared to be in that position to be comfortable and have the confidence to say no, or leave me alone, or just walk away, you know. And I don't think a lot of the women are prepared for that. And I think and a lot of the boys are not mentally prepared to understand why these girls don't say no, or they just go along with the flow, because sometimes women are put in situations and they're scared to say no. You know, they're embarrassed to say no. They're peer pressure. And I know a lot of men want to be like, well, she knew what she was doing, she should have. And it's just not that simple, you know. Example, me and my wife, the first time we had sex, we talked about this. And
we are not gonna talk about that here. Not today.
Welcome to Boundary.
Not on Beyonce's internet.
This is gonna be the Boundary.
We're not gonna talk about
Tell the story. Tell the story.
How much you been drinking?
I want to hear
it. Next time.
Okay. What I noticed about him though was that he didn't seem bothered by it, even as an adult.
No. No. See, this is the thing. So I am somewhat of a reality show junkie, but I mean, I observe people for a living. So I mean, I don't like to come home and watch anything serious. I really have to really watch stuff that say, "Are you serious?" Oh my God. If you watch that reality show that he had on VH1, and I took some notes as I was watching the video earlier, and I took some notes tonight. A lot of times, this sexualization is undermining a child's confidence, and we do this a lot in our culture. We really do. I want to tell his mom. I wish somebody would have told her while she was raising him to stop living through him. Like, that's not your man. And because this particular man hurt you, and it's gonna be some single moms, you might get some negative backlash about what I'm about to say, Ashley, but I gotta say it. My lovely single sisters who are raising these young men, stop treating these young men like they're your man. That's not your man. That's your son. Okay, that's your son. That's it. He's not the king of your house. It's not his responsibility to take care of you because there's no man at your house. That's not on him. He's a freaking kid. It's your job to parent him and nurture him the best way that you know how. You know, they even have kind of these little nicknames they give these boys. Yeah.
Sexy. They be calling boys sexy. Why you calling them so sexy? And all of these things and all this emphasis on how children look and what they put on and what the label has on it. We do this and we undermine their self-confidence. So what are we teaching them? Oh, if I don't look a certain way, if I don't have on certain clothes, oh, well, then I'm not going to be this when I get older. So then let's talk about the French kissing. Well, if you don't kiss her this way or you don't kiss her that way, she ain't going to like you. And it's like, you have the audacity to teach this to your son. So let's look at Jim Jones for a minute, y'all. Been with the same woman for how long and ain't put a ring on it yet. She had to put a ring on it and he still ain't married this woman. A lot of times these children's confidence is undermined. And so then when my confidence is undermined, I'm less likely to get into a committed relationship because I don't have the confidence or the self-efficacy to believe that I have what it takes to hold on to it. That's one. Let's look at his relationship again. Look at the reality show, The Lack of Boundaries. How many scenes in that show has his mother and his fiance gotten into verbal and almost physical altercations about him, arguing over him like they're arguing over a man, as in, no, he mine, no, he mine. So when he came on that show and said, oh, my mama, you know, she taught me how to French kiss, I wasn't surprised because that's the role. She taught him how to do that. She taught him to treat her like that's his lady. So much so that he ain't even set a boundary between his mama and his lady. His lady's still holding on for hope that they're going to be married one day. They've been on like 3 different reality shows featuring their relationship on how he lacks commitment. He got kids, okay, by different women since they've been together. No commitment. Want to know why? Because nobody built confidence in him. And I'm curious to know where his father is and what male influence he had growing up that would build confidence in him to a point where he might think he could make a committed relationship happen. Okay. And then look at the career that he's had. And I'm not saying this about all rappers. Let me just say that. But he's in an industry where they promote men not committing. So he's kind of in this complacent space where I ain't got to do all of that. I ain't got to do all of that. But I'm going to get on a show and say my mama taught me how to French kiss. It's dysfunctional. That's what it is. That's what it is. And so when you start living through your kids, they lack self-efficacy, meaning that things that have to do with the opposite sex, they're not confident. They're not confident in dating. They're not confident in relationships. They're not confident in just about anything as it relates to dealing with the opposite sex. They're either going to do one of the two. They're either going to avoid these relationships altogether, or the trend that we're seeing and some of the studies I've read where there's a connection between the sexualization that these boys go through and how they see sex as violence. So, you know, it's dysfunctional. That's what it is. So it's not surprising he would say something like this. Look at the reality show, look at his statement, and then look at Jim. Got all these kids, different baby mamas, same woman living in the house with him, ain't committed to her, but he dag sure committed to his mama to the point where he a French kisser. It's dysfunctional. So I just want to urge my single moms who are raising boys out there, these not your men.
Like, go get a life outside of your children. It's okay, sis. It's okay.
I think that's so important that you said that, because when Darwin said that boys are prepared, it just made me laugh, because boys are not prepared for sex. They're peer pressured into wanting sex. I had boys in 6th grade tell me I don't date girls that have periods. It is hilarious now, because I'm looking back and these men are in my inbox and I'm like, I got a period. You know, I don't know how. Huh?
Don't be mad at him because he got standards.
Exactly. But that's my point. Nobody prepared them for sex. They weren't even educated on sex in general, just peer pressure into thinking they were supposed to have a girlfriend. Which leads me, because now I'm curious as far as like the schooling, because you know, girls are often told, hit the books, don't worry about boys, books over boys, blah, blah, blah. And then you look at it and we are leading in like education. Women tend to be going to school more than guys. So now I'm wondering if this force to be sexualized could be redirected into like pushed into, I guess, studies or something, because it seems like boys are asked in kindergarten, do you got a girlfriend? Versus, do you know how to read? Or can you write your name out? You know, boys are told, oh, you got 2 or 3 girlfriends, you the man. All this as early as kindergarten. Can't even work their butt good. So it just seems like all this energy pushed towards sexualizing boys could really be redirected somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that's just something I noticed.
All right, good topic, y'all. I'm gonna close that topic out. I know that Rashad has to go. So thank you, Rashad. Did you want to add something to that before you left, or?
Oh no, I'm good. Yeah, good topic. And I'm sorry I got to head out early, guys. Got to help my daughter study for a test tomorrow, so we'll do that. But yeah, you guys have a good night. Good luck with the rest of the show. I'll tune in later.
All right.
Thank you. With the test.
Bye, Rashad.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I think that topic can bring up so many different issues. You know, you think about just the mental and emotional and spiritual well-being of the child experiencing that, the aftermath of it, how it affects his relationships with women in the past. I wonder if it affected how he sees women, and, you know, not just whether or not he can let go of his mom, but how he sees women.
Oh, absolutely. Every time someone try to kiss him.
No, absolutely. Those types of things are going to affect how they see women. That's why I just think it's really unfortunate that we do that. So some of the things, some of the different pathologies, or some of the different things that I see people demonstrate, I'm not ever like surprised by it. Like, I'm aware of how we got there, but it's just still so disconcerting. It's like the realities that we claim that we want to see, we don't put in the foundation or the work to actually get that outcome. Like, we do the exact opposite. So, like, for instance, if we are having conversations and we're like, you know, we want people to have, especially however you feel about marriage or monogamous relationships or whatever, if you're going to promote and you're going to say things like, we want 2-parent households, we need people to stay together, and people need to be in these relationships, but you're socializing boys to see women as sex objects, right? And then you socializing girls another way, and then you are over sexualizing young boys to the point where you are pressuring them into exhibiting this hypersexual behavior. It just doesn't match up. Like, that's not gonna end up in the environment that you're saying you're trying to foster. Like, it's just not. And that's what I see actually most of the time. And it's like, at this point, at my big age, I'm just looking like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Like, are we really surprised that this is what's happening? And then you have had all of these things ingrained in you all of this time, until you get to this age, and then now we're gonna sit here and all of a sudden be like, I don't understand you, I don't think like you, I don't think like you, we can't, like, duh, like, why? Like, why would we? Like, if you've been socialized a totally different way than me, you're gonna look at everything totally different than the way that I'm looking at it. And then you're gonna be like, well, y'all need to come together. How? We've had 2 totally different experiences. We have 2 completely different understandings on how things could be and how things are, how we need to behave. Like, we have 2 different agendas. It's not making any sense. Like, it's not going to add up. So it's like, we got to figure out some type of way to to bridge the gap and come into alignment on how we raising our kids, like to get the outcomes that we claim that we want to have.
Yeah.
Can I add something to it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I'm a father of both a girl and a boy, and I think that conversations about sex need to happen throughout their life. That's what I try to do. I try to get appropriate books to kind of teach them, body parts and different things that may spark their, curiosity, so they're not getting misled. A lot of young men are misled because they're taught by the streets or their friends or TV or social media. There are other components in TV now with LGBTQ that are also adding confusion to sexuality and sex in general. Like I was watching TV with my son. We watched the movie The Eternals, and there was a character on the movie that had a husband, and he kissed his husband. So my son, who's 5, he's like, "Dad, why did he kiss a man?" So I had to explain to him in a way that was appropriate for him why that was. So I think the education throughout the lifespan of a child can support them when they become, a man dating a woman. And I think both ways. My daughter gets the same conversations about, I'm her first male. So teaching her how to be respected and teaching her how to be loved and not allowing her to feel she has to be looking for those things in men, I think is important as my responsibility as being a dad. So generationally, we haven't been there as Black fathers. So that can account to some of the misguiding conversations that we as young boys have about sex. And, abstinence was what my mom talked about. I went to Catholic school. We didn't talk about sex. So I got information from places that were maybe not the best places. But I learned, my mother always would say, have sex when you're married. So, I took it upon what I thought that meant. And I didn't have sex until I loved someone at a certain point in my life. And, that was what it was. But I didn't over-sexualize women that way because I was raised by them. And I looked to them to be kind of like the people that helped me to become who I had become.
Okay.
Well, I did.
What?
I've been over-sexualizing women for a long time. I just recently stopped when I got married. Just to be honest. I mean, a lot of men, that's what we do. And it takes a level of self-awareness to get to that point. You have to, I think first off, you have to get with a woman, if it's not your mother, your auntie, and have these women that you actually trust and respect to really put you in your place. Because a woman that you don't really know or trust or respect, they can't tell you nothing really. They can tell you all the good information in the world, but since you don't trust them or respect them, that's not going to happen. And unfortunately, a lot of us men are not raised to respect and trust women. And it's not because it's not intentional. It's because men just don't know how to even show that, right? They think respect and trust it looks different to men in general. Yeah.
How does it look?
Trusting a woman means like, oh, she ain't cheating and she ain't having sex with somebody else. That's all, stuff like that.
It's
like,
still about sex.
Yeah, we not really trusting women with our emotions. we not really trusting. Men are not growing up and getting in these relationships and really talking about their emotions to women because it's vulnerable for us.
That's a whole different topic.
Yeah, but it is. But
and there are different layers to it too.
I don't think women are doing that either, brother.
Women are more emotional with their man than men are with their women. Women show their feelings, they talk about their feelings, and they're more vulnerable with their feelings than men are. Men are not going home crying about their situations with their woman and giving them their deepest thoughts. Men just not doing that. So
we're socialized differently. Women are socialized to be more expressive
They are.
of how they're feeling and be more in touch and tune with how they're feeling.
Right.
and men are socialized to suppress their feelings,
Right.
which a lot of times creates a total disconnect between their feelings and their thoughts. Like a lot of times, because men are socialized to suppress their feelings so bad, they don't even know how they feel half the time, or can't even put a word to it, or can't even articulate it because they don't have the practice, because people don't give them the practice.
Because the only feeling that's deemed to be manly is anger for us, and a lot of feelings men think are
and lust,
you know, and they don't want to show their feminine side. I'm not going to show I'm sad. I'm not going to show that I'm unhappy. I'm going to show that only feelings I can show that's not going to let people think, that's not going to allow people to think that I'm a wuss or whatever. It's anger or I'm mad. So we're not going to go. And you don't see too many men trying to cry in front of women. You know, like that's not happening. We not. I just talked to my wife the other day about it's been.
I think it kind of backfires to women too. We're taught to talk about our emotions. We're more open. We're more likely to do that. But I think that, and men are taught not to. But I think women or girls are also taught that boys don't do it too. So it's like a double-edged sword. It's like you guys are being taught, oh no, I'm a man. I don't cry. I don't show these types of emotions. But then women are almost kind of being socialized to think that that's not.
We are.
Do too.
The thing is that we are the thing is that we are being socialized the same way. So the way that we are being socialized, men are being socialized to think that way about us, and the way that they're being socialized, vice versa. So we're all like, we all in this together. Like that's what I mean. Like it does have a double-edged sword. That's why I think it's so important, instead of looking at things always like this versus this, woman versus man. Like, no, there are genuine benefits to getting on the same page. Like, while you want to just try to act like everything is so one-sided, like, and just be like, no, I'm gonna like, no, does that align with your ultimate goal? If it does not, then you may want to reach down and let's just exhibit and work on some different behaviors and some things that may work. Like, it's not a fight. You know what I'm saying? It's like
back to what I was saying, babe. She used to call me a womanizer all the time. You're a womanizer and this and that. She's like, I'm not a womanizer, you know. And I just, in my heart, I just knew I wasn't a womanizer. Like, I'm not doing the stuff she was saying I'm doing. And it got to a point where, you know, things wasn't working out. I was getting the same result from women. I was, you know, and she's like my best friend. We known each other since 13. And that's why. And I have another female friend. She's watching the show also. And I used to talk to them, and I trusted these women. So when they used to tell me something, I used to really do some self-reflecting. And them and my auntie, them the only three women that I used to like go home and be like and actually consider what they said and start doing some self-reflecting. And then I start thinking like, you know what? They absolutely right. And I never knew why I thought these things or why my habits was the way they were until I just started diving deep inside to my past and realizing like I had these men in my life that they had good intention, but they just didn't know how to express themselves to me. So I expressed myself the way they were expressing themselves, you know, and I just this repeated cycle. So I had to take it upon myself to change that and have to be intentional about it. And it took a long time for me to change these habits. And I know my wife had patience with me because a lot of habits it's just hard to break, you know, especially when you don't really know where they came from. You know, we've been to counseling, and counseling helped a lot. And it's just you have to be very, very intentional, and you have to be committed to changing those toxic ways. And unfortunately, a lot of men don't even know that they toxic. And it starts from birth. It starts from when you, as soon as your son is walking and you telling your son like, just have as many girlfriends as you want, and you're telling your daughter you can't have a boyfriend until you're married or till you're 88 and stuff like that. Like,
I'm gonna put your daddy on blast. He used to bring you nuts and bananas when you was in high school.
When I was in high school, my father used to bring me nuts and bananas home. I'm like, I don't even like nuts. Why you bring me these almonds? Like, keep your thing strong. You know what I'm saying? So you can, for all the women. And I'm like he was encouraging me to go out and have sex with as many women, you know, and he thought he was doing a good thing as a father. You know what I'm saying? Like he thought that was his job. Like, let my son get him ready to have all this sex and this and that. And You know, in my mind, I was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I guess I got to eat these bananas and peanuts, you know, but you know, the older you get, you want to start, you want to grow, you know, and you want to have people around you to help you grow. And fortunately, I had some women around me that helped me realize my bad ways, and, you know, you know, I'm still working on myself, you know, and then right now I'm starting to realize that I have a lot of young men looking up to me. So I start to try to teach them right, you know, and unfortunately sometimes it's too late. You know, they get to that age where they know everything, they don't want to listen to you. But that's why I say you got to start early and try to teach them the right way and try to have that open line, that line of communication open,
Right.
and keep them on the same level with the women. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you said, it's like the women are going this way, the men are going that way, and then they get to a point when they're older and wonder why they can't cohabitate with each other because they're too far apart.
Right.
I agree.
Right.
Did anyone have any last thoughts on that topic?
I did. I just wanted to
wait.
Go ahead, Joseph. I'm sorry.
I did, but I'll wait. I'll let you. I'll
okay,
let you move
Jovo,
to me.
and then Joseph. Yeah.
I was just gonna say that it's real important that we have having conversations about sex and these things with your children. We need to, if you're feeling uncomfortable, then that means you're doing something right. Like, we need to get out these comfort zones and stop trying to do things that make us feel comfortable and think about and prioritize what's going on in the little sponge brains of these children. Like, they're so curious. I mean, they're sponges at that time. And, you know, I commend you, Joseph, on having the conversation with your children about, you know, sex. Saying, I have a 10-year-old, it's coming. Like, it's always, it goes from body parts to, you know, why do boys this? Why do girls do this?
Yeah.
You know, mommy, why does your body do this? Why you look like this? Why? And just having these uncomfortable conversations is so important so that they know, because if you don't teach them, somebody else is going to teach them, or something else is going to teach them. And then it's going to be confusing. It's going to be scary. And then, you know, it's just not going to. Right. And I found it to be that when you start having direct conversations with your children, you are instilling in them to be confident, to be able to ask questions, to be able to trust, you know, that if they know it, okay, I know it. If I don't know something, then I can ask a question and I can be curious, and it's okay. You know,
it says, let's research it, Daddy.
Exactly. So those are my final thoughts, just encouraging everybody to have that conversation, you know, the appropriate one at the appropriate ages. That, you know, the internet is an oyster. Books, they have so many books on this topic of what age and what content do I teach my children about sex and sexual behaviors and tendencies, because what the questions they'll ask at one age will be different at another age.
Yeah. Okay. Yep, that's true. And one thing that I appreciate about my mom is that she, like, we didn't need, you know, the sex talk. You know, I remember people used to talk about the sex talk, and there was so much anxiety around it. But I never felt that with my mom. Now, my mom was still old school, so I couldn't talk about certain things, right? But we talked about sex, right? Like, I mean, we didn't get in detail, but we did talk about sex. And like, she told me about what an erection was, and, you know, she called it a penis. Like, you know, we definitely, you know, talked about it, but there were like levels to it. So like, you know, by the time I was 16, like, I didn't feel any anxiety about having the sex talk with my mom. Like, because she had already been teaching me. She had already been teaching me about, you know, what body parts are, you know, private, and who should be touching you, when they should be touching you, or where they should be touching you. She taught me about respecting myself, and she also was very real with me about how boys can see sex and how girls can see it. You know, she and I know that's a gray area there, but she taught me about how, you know, a lot of times when you're coming up, boys are just trying to get as many girls as they can, or maybe not a lot, but they're just trying to see if they can get it, and that's just it. And then they'll go talk to about it to their friends, and that's the excitement for them, as to where a girl may be thinking about it in a more emotional way. And so she talked to me about that. She talked about pregnancy. And so I think there are layers, like the conversation she was having with me at 16 and then at 12 and then at 10 were not the same as they were at 6. Like they were all different. And so, I'm not a mom, but, just from my experience growing up and just from being around children so much as an educator, I think we have to remember that there are layers and levels to this discussion of sex.
And it's always good to get the right information from the right person, because I was told that the more sex you had, the bigger your penis is going to get.
Oh, wow. Are you
having all these sex and my penis wasn't going no more? And I was just
like, you gonna sit here and wear it down. You gonna have
I was like, getting bigger. What's going on? I'm working on it's just still the same size.
It was a myth.
Yeah, exactly. And I was hoping that myth, because I was like getting it in. Like
we have other things for that, Darwin. They got other things for that now. But you already won. You married, brother. You won already.
Hey, lucky for her, because she would have had a load to handle. She wouldn't have been handle me. I was a beast back in my day.
Miss Hill, get him.
Thank you. Please, Miss Hill.
Don't nobody be thinking about him. Y'all don't even know. Like, this is like Mal. Like, this is Mal sauce. This is like nothing. Like, somebody in the chat earlier was like, Cannon's level of unbothered. I'm like, you don't even know. Like, I'm battle tested. Like, it's nothing.
Oh my God.
You be saying stuff. I'd be like, everybody else be like, what? I just be like,
just saying the wrong people was teaching me. That's all I'm saying. The wrong people was teaching me. Really, they was. And I'm just saying, you need the right people to teach you the right things, because even the wrong people trying to teach you the right things, it's gonna sound different. Like, you and I could even hear the same thing from, like the wrong people trying to tell you something right. You gonna be like, man, dude, get on up out of here. Like a homeless person can't come up and tell me some great points about getting $1 million. It's just not gonna happen. I'm gonna look at him like, dude, get out my face. I'm not listening to you. But if Jay-Z was to come and tell me the same thing that homeless person told me, I'm all open to listen to it. So get the right people around you that you trust and you respect, and that knows something. Look at what they do. Look at how their life is going. Look at their marriage. Look at their track record, and just piggyback off what some of the things that they do that aligns with what you want to do.
Okay. All righty. All right, y'all. That was a good topic. I'm going to go ahead and move on. Is everybody good to stay on? All right, we got about 20 minutes, and for this next topic, the next topic is, or the question is, who pays for the first date, and does it matter? Who pays for the first date, and does it matter? Who likes to go first? Go ahead, Mrs. Understanding.
I think it's not about who pays, it's about who offers. Because I was told on your first date, you're always supposed to offer to pay. But if you take your offer, don't ever go out with that man again. So you're supposed to offer just to show that, I have it and I can afford to treat you. But, you're supposed to pay because of traditional gender roles, whatever the case may be. But I'm a firm believer in positive reinforcement. So you do good, I do good back. So I like to take my man out too. I like to buy him stuff and all that kind of stuff. It's not like you can't reciprocate. But The first date, I think the man should definitely pay.
Okay.
Can I answer?
Yes.
I think as a gentleman, I'm always gonna pay first, maybe second, third, fourth, fifth. At a certain point, I don't want to have to always pay. I think that if it's a space where we're getting to know each other, first of all, first date shouldn't be Ruth Chris, shouldn't be the Signature Room, shouldn't be Alinea. Places where you wouldn't take yourself. Don't ask me to take you on the first date. It should be somewhere where I can have a conversation with you. I'm a sapiosexual, meaning I am stimulated by intellectual conversation. So if we're sitting somewhere, we can have a conversation about multiple topics, and you keep my interest, then that'll let me know if I really want to take you on a next date. The next day it'll be a little different. But I will pay. I think at a certain point, women can offer, and at a certain point, women can also pay.
Okay.
Yep, this one is kind of interesting to me. You're probably gonna be a little surprised, Ashley. You're gonna be like, "What, you Miss Generals?"
I hope I don't be surprised. I'm trying to see something.
As y'all know, I'm not a gender role person. That's like, this person has to do this. But in like dating context, there are certain ways that I interact in a dating context because I know what they mean socially. So for me, yeah, if a guy is gonna ask me out, you're gonna pay for it. But it's just because that's the society that we live in. And kind of, to me, it kind of indicates his level of seriousness. That's just what it does. I didn't make it that way. If I could somehow, especially if it's somebody that I'm just getting to know and just meeting, then I don't know anything about this person. So no, I'm going to start it off within the confines of how we interact socially, just so I can have a better grasp on what's going on, but not necessarily because I just feel like you have to pay for me. I have no problem with paying on a date, but like a first date and like we just not getting to know each other and you are pursuing me, then no, you're gonna pay, sir. Like, no. And then but to Joseph's point, I do agree that don't be like an opportunist and be like, oh, I'm gonna go do all of this stuff that I never did, whatever.
How would you know that if it's your first date?
No, I know. I'm saying for the one, like, for yourself if you're being an opportunist, if this is stuff that you don't do. So, yeah, Joseph would just be mad at me because I do stuff like that all the time. So it'd be like, yeah, we're going to Roost Chris on the first day. He'd be like, what?
So do I. But
and like that would be so normal to me. Like I'd be like, yeah, okay, what's the problem? But yeah, that's just kind of the way I look at it. I don't look at it necessarily like because it's the man he has to do it, but I look at it just kind of to gauge intent and to kind of figure out what's happening and to set the tone because of society that I have to kind of engage that way. Like I'm not about, because I feel like there's just perceptions. So I feel like if I don't really know this person and I'm coming out paying for dates and all of that, then it's just a different perception. And we're not going to do that.
And I think that's valid. That's valid because even men treat it that way. Like how many times have we heard, or even guys kind of jokingly say, I ain't taking her, she gonna get McDonald's, she gonna get Wendy's, like songs like, I forget, there's this song that 50 Cent has where he's like, I forget the exact words, but he's like, you're taking her, paying her, spending money on her, but
50 Cent.
Yeah, so like McDonald's. And so they put that type of value on it too, like a woman that they really like.
Right. Say, I fucked and feed her fast food, you keeping her icy.
Yeah. Yes. That's so right. And so but I think that it is changing a little bit only because like we did have women who were taking advantage, of men, taking them out on dates and wanting to impress them. We had a lot of women who are like, yeah, I just want a meal. I don't even like him. I've even had people encourage me to do that. Like, girl, just go. It's a free meal. And it's like,
we know when y'all doing that though.
Well, I mean, they're called the streets. They're going to be food for the streets. If you stupid enough to be food for the streets, who am I to stop you? If you paying for first dates with girls that don't like you like that, clearly can't nobody tell you nothing. Go and swipe your card.
But how would he know that they don't like him like that?
They're on the date, though. They wouldn't know.
We just talked about body language and interest, all those things. You're telling me. Come on now. Y'all can tell Joe.
Okay, Raven. Okay, I'll put it this way to Ashley's point, and this still goes back to, and I'm always going to wrap it back around to the fact that patriarchal standards hurts everybody, not just women. So yeah, the fact that men set these ideas and these standards, on the flip side, it can be taken advantage of. Yeah, you're absolutely right. If you are setting this precedent or behaving this way, then yeah, some people are going to know how to milk the system, for lack of a better word, to take advantage of that thing. That's why I don't agree with any of it, but hey, that's what people like to do. So.
Yeah. I did want to say, well, let me hear. I wanted to say something to what Raven said. I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah.
But, go ahead, Jovo. Go ahead and add what you want to say.
Yeah, I started dating my husband in college, so we were both kind of broke, but back then, it was kind of, true to form that there were opportunists. I wasn't that girl, like, prior to him, I would go out on a date with a guy. Has a guy taken me out and expected something more? Absolutely. That has happened. I think that
getting flued out.
Yeah, something like that. Just oh, I took you here, I took you there. And really, we kids in college, so I'm already laughing like, but you took me here, you took me there. Like, what are you saying? Because it was here and there, you expected, sex, or you expected me to go out with you again or whatever. But I'm kind of like Joseph. Like, once I can sit down with you, have great conversation with you, have a good time, there's a vibe going, then I'm gonna want to go out again. And I can remember several instances in dating my husband where it was like, oh, I think we'll like to do this together. I'll get the tickets for this, or I'll do this, and then let's just go. But most of the time, even true to form now, I've never had that issue with him. He, it even surprised like his mom, like she was just like, and his sister, she was just like, he'll freely just take you somewhere or do something with you. But then I later found out why he does that, because people who are close to me know that I'm not that opportunist, and that I'm going to help you any kind of way. I'm what you call, the elders call, like a, free-hearted person. I'm going to, if I see you in need, I'm gonna give it to you. Like, I give without expecting anything in return, So I definitely do think that there's a trend going on. You see it on Instagram, you see it on TikTok, where people like film these extravagant, like vacations or extravagant dinners, and it's kind of letting people in the dating world know, like, okay, if you get with the right person, this can be yours. It's almost like a new age Price is Right. Like, girl, if you look like this and you do this, you can get all of this. Yeah. And it's kind of just like whatever happened to a man and a woman going out, sharing a good meal or sharing a good time and just getting to know each other. Now it's just so many layers to it. I do kind of relate to what Raven was saying, because that's what I was taught growing up. I came out of that kind of way of thinking, though. It was just like, for me, if I truly liked you, I wanted to get to know you. We can go out again. I don't mind, picking the activity or paying for the activity. But the first day, I'm probably not going to do that. You ask me out. I do the same thing with a group of friends. Like, let's say, for instance, if I ask Ashley and Cannon to join me for Sunday brunch,
you paying.
If I asked, I'm not telling. I'm gonna pay. The waitress gonna say, "How are we splitting this ticket?" No, ladies, I'm gonna take this. I appreciate you guys coming along and receiving the invitation. And I wasn't always like that, but I'm grown up now and I've evolved, and I just feel like sometimes it's just about common courtesy. Like, how you gonna ask me to go somewhere with you, and then it's just, hey, but you got this right here, you got the tip, you got whatever. I actually remember going on a date like that, and I could just, it's like, it's almost like it happened yesterday, and I was just like, yeah, he ain't the one, because he, it's just like, you can't ask somebody out for a good time and pay for it. Like, what is that all about? For me, it's about common courtesy. That's what it's about for me.
I agree, and I'm gonna throw one thing in there because you said something that just made me remember something, and then I'm gonna have to go ahead and hop off. But one thing that you said, you just said about like the expectation, like, oh, okay, I'm paying for this, or I'm doing this, I'm spending this money, I'm gonna expect it. That was really an epiphany for me growing up, and I felt like it's probably the opposite of what people would expect, because like that's something that my mother always told me, like, don't accept gifts from guys, don't accept things from guys, because they're going to expect something in return.
Right.
So for the longest, I did not accept things from guys. Like, I did not take teddy bears. I did not take flowers. Like, when I was in high school, like, I used to, I mean, I think, you know what, as a matter of fact, I may have like taken it here and there, but then I threw it away so my mama wouldn't find it. So but what I learned, and why I would never tell my daughter that, and I would never teach my daughter that, is because guess what? they're gonna try and want to do it anyway. It doesn't matter. I never had any experience where I didn't take
and
something.
You don't have to.
No, right. No,
but you don't have to.
Right, but that's what I mean. But the way you frame that, it's almost like there's some type of additional pressure now because you've taken something. But in my experience, it doesn't matter. Like, they're pursuing you. They're going to try to do what they're going to do, whether you accept gifts or not. So you just out here still dating somebody, you know, basically it's like you're not even having any requirements for your time or anything. Like, you just like, no, I can't take that. And they still going to do what they're doing anyway. So like, that was the thing that I had to learn. And I was like, nah. So then I was like, I'm taking everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I wanted to say, I agree with what you guys are saying. Like, I think if you ask somebody out on a date, whether you're a man or a woman, like, you should pay. And I know a lot of guys are like, well, women don't ask men out. And yeah, that's true. I think it's changing, though.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
I think that whoever is doing the asking should pay. And I think also, like, I think it's I liken it to asking somebody to your house, you know, like, if I ask you to my house, I'm gonna provide dinner. Like, you know, you might bring some wine, you might bring something just out of courtesy, right? But I'm not gonna ask you to my house and expect you to clean and cook and, you know, I'm the one who asked you over. So I think it's kind of like rude to expect, you know, somebody to pay if you ask them out. Now, obviously, usually I think men ask women out on the first date, so men usually pay, right? Maybe that's changing, but historically that's how it's been. And I definitely agree that, you know, by the third date, you know, that's kind of like my general thing. Like, by the third date, you know, I'm offering, like, okay.
Well,
hold on, pause. It's been real, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and hop off. I'm gonna let y'all finish it up. But good night, guys, and I will see you next week.
All right, lady.
Bye, Cannon.
What are you gonna say, Darwin?
Yeah. My take on it is my stance on it has changed from when I first started dating to now. Obviously, when I was younger, it was like, yeah, I'm gonna pay if I feel like I was getting some or whatever. If the date was going smooth, you know, I might just walk off on it. That's just how I was. I was different, and I was kind of like you know, I was out there. And a
womanizer.
Right?
I guess so.
And you couldn't believe you were a womanizer?
And it was my intentions was to always pay though, right?
Okay.
I've dated a couple of women and we were out on a date. I can remember this one time it was a double date.
She had red toenails and you couldn't pay.
I like red. What? She we went bowling. We went bowling, and I had just met her, and you know, and for some reason, you know, I felt like we wasn't connecting or whatever. I knew it wasn't gonna be nothing romantically, and that was cool with me. But I was still trying to have a good time and have a cordial night out. But she was on her phone, stepping out, just not even talking. I was, you know what I'm saying, trying to even just talk to her as a friend, just have a fun time. And she just was like all over the place, you know, arguing on the phone with some other dude, this and that. And I'm told my guy, like, you know, I'm not paying for her. You know, that food she ordered, I'm not paying for her bowling. I'm not paying for none of this stuff. You got to pay for it. He's like, no, don't be like that. You know, no, I'm not doing it. Because as she still, just because I engaged in a date with her or asked about it and wanted to go out with her, that doesn't mean she has the right to just treat me any kind of way. And I think sometimes women feel like they're obligated to get this certain treatment just because they're a woman and because they know that this man pursued them and this man wants something from them. And I just can't get with that. When a woman shows that type of attitude, nah, you go pay for yourself. You know, I'm not about to let you disrespect me on any level. You know, you know, I understand that you don't want to pursue me romantically or whatever the case may be, but you're still gonna treat me with some level of respect. And if you can't do that, then no, I'm not paying for you. You know, and I won't feel bad about it. Now, when I did get a little bit older or whatever, I still feel the same way today. If I was not married and I went out a woman and she was disrespecting me on the first date or just ignoring me and just, you know, body language all messed up. I'm go when the bill come, yeah, we separate bills, you know. Yeah, you go have to learn how to play the game too. If I got to play the game, you go play the game too. And unfortunately, part of the game is being a little cordial at least.
Okay, I was gonna say like manners. I get that part.
Yes,
I get that part.
Stroke his
My
ego
intentions is always to pay.
Right.
Have some decorum.
Now, does it
Jesus.
matter if I pay or does it matter if the woman paid? It definitely matters. A woman paying on the first date, first off, it's going to show you that she's intentional about letting you know that she has her own and that she's independent and that she doesn't really need you, right? And that's going to sit good with me because now I know I'm pursuing a lady who will pay the first date, who does have a little money, depending on where we went and depending on what I order. It also lets me know, like, okay, she got a little money. Like, if we went to a place and the bill comes is $500 and she be like, I got it. I'm like, okay, or what we working with?
That's a little tricky though, because
You gonna ask for a Birkin bag?
that's
I'm gonna start twerking on her ass.
I know a couple guys who consider that like a red flag. You know, like, oh, she tried
get to that.
pay. Like, what kind of?
I was gonna get to that.
women-
Now, on the other
She doesn't
hand,
need me.
it lets you know that, or it lets you know that this woman is controlling, which I had one like that too. I went on a date with her, and when the bill came, I was about to pay. She's like, "Nah, I got this." I was like, "Nah, I got it." She was like, "Nah, you must don't know how much money I make." And I was like, "Okay, how much money do you make?" She started pulling out check stubs and everything. She was know that she had a little money, right?
Get your
And-
wee away.
So I was
Jeez,
like,
girl.
hey, I was like, yeah, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I was like, you can pay for all of them for all I care. But she was the most controlling woman I ever dated. And I'm talking about control. I'm talking about I had invest private. She had PIs following me. Like, oh, you left here. She was controlling it's a thin line between love and hate type thing.
Wow.
And I should have known then. That should have been my red flag when she, on that first date, when she offered to pay and had to show me her check stubs and try to put this little big show on. I should have known then. So it's a way.
You should have.
Yeah,
and that's what mannerisms are so important. Like I thank God for my grandma. I thank God for my grandma. My grandma was mean. She was strict, and I thank God for her because the coof that I learned, the mannerisms that I learned, it's paying off as an adult. Like manners are so important. I wanted to ask the guys, Ashley, and this might be one of your follow-up questions. Have you guys ever experienced where you take a woman to a restaurant and then it turns from you paying for dinner and she might have kids and it turns from you paying for dinner for the both of y'all and then she ordering this extra food to go? Have y'all ever experienced that? Because it came up on a radio show recently that I was listening to, and one of the DJs on the show, who's female, she copped to going on a date with a guy, and this guy, you know, they were getting ready to leave, they were ordering dessert, and she ordered food to take home to her kids. I don't get it. Like, again, that opportunist type of situation. Like, have y'all ever encountered that as men, and how did you handle that?
Darryl, you want me to go? You want to go?
I'll go first. Well, I have encountered that, but it was already established that was going to happen. She told me she told me that she wanted to bring something home for a kid, and I was like, okay, and I just paid for it, you know. But it wasn't like she didn't spring it on me at the last moment. Like,
right? Okay, so, I get that.
Yeah. So, but if she would have sprung on me at the last moment, I probably would have still paid. If depending on how the date went. Now, if the date went well, you know, I would have been like, okay, cool. But if she would have sprung on me, my mental would have been at that moment probably like, well, she better eat a bologna sandwich. What you think this is? You know, I don't care about all that. You know, but if we had a good date and she was respectful and it was and I was cool with her and I liked her and I wanted to keep pursuing her, I wouldn't have let that stop me. I wouldn't have let that stop me. But yeah, it's a certain way you got to do things.
Okay, got you.
What about you?
For me personally, I've never really experienced that personally, but again, the communication aspect, I would already know she had kids, and I would probably ask her, "Would you like me to get something for the kids?" I think being a considerate person, I would think about that before she sprung it on me. So I wouldn't give her the opportunity to do so.
Okay, because I mean, on this show, like the men were going in on her, and some of the women too, because of the way, like they were not telling her that, okay, it's the way that you automatically assume this man was gonna pay for all this food, when really truly he came into the date, okay, this is me and you having dinner. So yeah, okay, I see what you guys are saying
too. It's about how, because if you've been on a date, we've been on dates. We've been through a lot of circumstances, and we get a lot of these crazy. I ain't gonna say crazy women. We get a lot of different types of women. Women with kids, women without kids.
A whole lot of
certain things that we have to deal with too. And I know it's certain things y'all have to deal with also. But that's one of the things that we do have to deal with, like, because we know that you have to make sure your kids have babysitters, that your kids are taken care of before you leave the house and stuff like that. And as a man, like he said, if you're a real good dude, you're thoughtful, you're gonna, the kids, when they get in the car, like, everything cool, the kids cool, and yeah, I just got to bring them back something to eat. My son, I got to bring my sons back something to eat. Okay, cool, boom. Make sure we get them something to eat. But like, women have to carry themselves as women to get treated like a woman.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? That's just the bottom line. If a woman carry herself as a woman, 9 times out of 10, a man is gonna treat her as such.
Because we're gonna treat you the way you present yourself.
Exactly. Ain't no. And now if she comes in the car, just slam the door. Hey, what's up? You got that drink? I got me a thought. I'm about to treat her like a thought.
And I know what to do with her.
Yep. Exactly. So women get treated like women, and thoughts get treated like thoughts. And men recognize that very early. We might not be
on the phone. I recognize it.
That's what my grandma said. My grandma told me the same thing. I'm listening, and I'm like, this is what I was taught.
People tell on themselves in 15 minutes of conversation.
Yep.
If men are trying to bed as many women as they can, why does it matter if they're bumping into thoughts? Isn't that what you want? You don't want to bump into a woman.
It's not what you want.
It doesn't matter.
A real man.
So
that's
why
not the objective. I mean, we're not 21 anymore, so it's like your sex doesn't hold the same value that it did 22, 23 years ago. You got to come with more than that. And if
saying if the goal is to get as many notches on the belt, then you would want a woman that's loose and not of substance. Obviously,
it's not always his goal.
It depends on where you at. It depends on where that man at in his life. It was at one point. I wasn't interested in a relationship, so it did. But I still enjoyed having sex. So at that point, it really didn't matter if that woman had something else going on for her. If she was attractive, if I was attracted to her, I would bone her. I didn't care if she was smart, had a job, whatever the case may be. I just wanted sex. I'm just making sure she's clean. I'm gonna protect myself. But then when I got to a point in my life where I did want to have these types of conversations with ladies, and I did want to take these ladies to certain places that I know I didn't want to spend on a thought, because I'm not just going to spend my money on just a person that I don't think I'm going to have a good time with. So when I got to that point in my life where I wanted to go to nice places and experience nice things, then I start looking at women more than just sex, But if I'm looking for a relationship or a woman to spend quality time with, then I don't care what she has to offer. I really don't care. Just spread it open and let's get down to it. And you need to get out of my house afterwards.
Okay, now I have another question.
Why were you terrible?
Women
yes, I was.
Women get told, if they have too many sex partners, they can't pair bond, and they can't make a solid connection. So now I'm wondering, as a man that has, I don't know what you consider a lot of women, but you seem like you've, I guess, bedded enough women. Did you ever wonder in your earlier days, were you not going to be able to make a pair bond? Were you ever thinking like, dang, if I keep having sex with too many women, I'm not going to have an emotional connection left for my future wife? Or is this not something you thought about anyway?
That's for you, darling. That's your question.
I don't know, because you were talking about I own your thoughts. I don't care. It is what it is. So now I'm curious, like, as a woman, I know I didn't want to have sex with a lot of men because I wanted to be able to, keep that as a special connection. But if I was out there with the mindset, like, man, I'm trying to knock them down, back to back, I don't think I would, I don't know. I'm asking you now, like,
who would know that? Who would know that unless you told us that? I don't know your numbers, and I'm not asking you that.
Spiritual or emotional connections with those people.
I never, I know people be talking about them soul ties and you have sex with somebody. I don't believe in none of that. If I try to force myself to even see if I was connected to women that I never thought about again. Like, because I've had sex with women and women have approached me on Facebook like, "Oh, you don't remember me?" And I'm like, "Nah, you don't remember we did?" I'm like, "Nah." So if I can't remember you, I know I don't have an emotional connection with you. You know, like, so when I was just out there, sex to me is recreation.
Was it like a utility?
It's recreation.
Like, it wasn't something you necessarily were looking for a connection with. It was just like, it's Tuesday, I need to get this one off.
Yes, it's recreation.
Okay.
Recreation.
I mean,
even in my marriage, I call it recreation. It's just like, it's just recreation. It's just something we both like to do with each other very much. It's just the same thing. If she liked to bowl and I like to bowl, we gonna be going bowling all the time.
I understand that. It's just, I was raised by a lot of old Christian men who believed in men and women saving themselves. So the men around me weren't talking about trying to bed as many women. They were just going to class and looking for the one, which they end up finding. It's beautiful. But it's interesting hearing, more men who are.
It's a couple of different types of men.
Yes.
There's the spiritual man that looks for his wife to do X. There's the man that, he finds one person and that's who he stays with for the rest of his life. There's the man that, you try out different things. You see what you like. You learn what you like. You have a life. You have a story. So I think essentially at some point you evolve into something else. And when you get to that point, you arrive to that space, your ideology shifts and your mindset changes. So whatever path you took.
Is there a number for that place? Like, is that 25?
No.
I don't think it's
no.
So you could be at 500 and be like, I still need more. I need more lightning.
I mean,
Joseph reminds me a lot of what my husband has said about this. Joseph is reminding me a lot about what my husband has said about this. Like, it was a moment in his life that he was like, because like I told y'all, he was a party boy. He was just like, I don't want this lifestyle no more. Like, I see he started to see, because when me and my husband met, I knew I wasn't the only person he was dealing with, and I joke with him about it now, like but I mean, he chose what he wanted, and the thing about it, I agree with what Joseph is saying. I think that we don't give men credit enough to, I know as a girl, I was taught that men are just out there to get it, and it's your job to keep it from them, but you got to but you got to give it to the right one, and the right one gonna be your husband. And it was confusing, But I think to speak to what Joseph is saying, I do think that especially our Black men, we don't give them enough credit for evolving into men who actually want like long-term relationships. Like, men do get to a certain age. There are men who get to a certain age where they want a special connection with somebody, and they don't want to be in the streets, and they don't want to be in the bars, and they don't want to be in the clubs. Like, they want that life that simple life where, my husband tell me all the time, like, when y'all are sitting on the couch with me and we just laying around, he was just like, that's my favorite part. Like, that's what I like. Like,
y'all ever was eating,
so
and you ate something, and then after you ate it, you was like, why did I eat that? That's kind of like how I got to a point in my life where I started having sex with women, and I be like,
that made sense.
Why did I just have sex with her? Like, it was like, why did I do it?
Ain't no purpose behind this. Like, it don't even feel right no more.
I knew I was changing, and that's what I still have habits to go out and have sex, but I still was thinking about it a little more, and I started just easing myself off of it. Like, then I started looking for only time I go have sex is if I like the girl now, or if she got this, or if she got that. And then it started going down to, my standards start getting a little bit higher and higher and higher, to the point now where if I even look at a female, I'm already comparing them to my wife anyways. Like, man, please, I got me a bad one at home. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, and now it's to that point now. So I think, men do evolve, and unfortunately we don't evolve fast enough for women, and because women coming out the gate ready to hey, let's get married, let's do this, let's have this family. And unfortunately, men, because the way we are raised, our projection to that is not going straight. It's like this. Y'all's is like this, like a rocket blast off, and ours is going like that. You know what I'm saying? So we not gonna catch up with y'all when y'all want us to, but eventually I think we will get there, and I think it's a man for every woman. it's just a matter of patience and a matter of women not giving up. And I think a lot of women sometimes they get fed up with weight, and they get tired of it. They go through these situations. They think age is a
destination.
Thing. Exactly, and it's like if you're not at that point yet where you found that man yet, sometimes you have to train a man, and a man has to train a woman. Now, I'm just using those words.
It's called submissive.
Yeah, for communication, because I've been trained. I'll be the first. I've been trained. My wife has trained me to do certain things, and it was for my own good. You know what I'm saying? And it was only because she saw things in me. You know.
But think about why you followed through, though, Darwin. You followed through because you saw the cost and the benefits of changing. Oh, yeah. You weighed the cost, and that's change. Like, you know, I'm always online talking about that. Like, we can speak to, you know, these different communities, online communities, about people changing, women becoming more submissive, men, you know, showing discipline. We can talk about that. But until that individual man or woman sees the cost versus the benefits and vice versa of what they're doing, then change is not going to happen. See, for you, your wife showed you, she outlined to you, look at these benefits you're getting over here for us building this life together, and for you aligning with this life. Like, look at all this that we're going to have. And good people in your life, they know how to trigger something in you that will allow you to manifest and be more optimistic about, okay,
I'm never the type of guy.
These are the benefits. Yeah.
I'm never the type of guy that talks to my friends in a way where marriage is prison. I'm never telling them, oh my God, don't ever get married. I'm encouraging them to find that way to get married, because I know the benefits of being married. I know the financial benefit of it. I know the health reasons of it, and I know the emotional reason of being married. You know, it's a lot less stressful to deal with one woman than to deal with a lot of women. It's easy on your pockets to deal with one woman than to deal with all these dates. It's easier on your health to have a woman that's looking out for you, telling you, you need to go get checked out, making your doctor appointments, making sure you good. That's a good feeling, to knowing someone is on you about that and that really cares about you, you know? So it's a lot of benefits to being married. Yeah. And unfortunately, a lot of men don't want to put them boyish behaviors to the back, and they still trying to
I wouldn't even say that. I wouldn't even say that. They just haven't. Remember what you said about women are taught like rockets to go up. Mm-hmm. They still here. They still here. They're still in you know, it's 5 stages of change. You know, look it up. Trans theoretical model. They're still in pre-contemplation. They don't see a problem with their behavior, so they're not gonna change their behavior. Right. Once they start identifying some problems, then they might get on the cusp of, I want to slow down a little bit. Or like what you said, you know what? I just laid down with her and I don't even know why. Like, what's up with this? Mm-hmm. Something's triggering. Something is kind of tapping in here and in here that I want something different. Maybe it's time for something different. Yeah. And see, in society, we don't view that as change. We view that as they confused or they don't know what they want. No, it's not that. Sometimes they just don't have that outline of, this is how it's going to benefit me, or this is what my current behavior is costing me. You know, we all stand room to grow and mature. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just how you look at your growth and your maturity, you know, and setting goals for yourself. You know, I mean, I asked my husband when we first got together, like, had you ever seen yourself with, you know, married with kids? Like, before me, he was in a relationship that, like, they were high school sweethearts, lived together, shared bills and all of that. And he told me, he said, I never saw marriage with her. And I've only known you for X amount of time at that time. And I see us having all of this. So I definitely do think that guys look at it differently. And I definitely do think that we don't give our men enough credit when they do evolve and when they do start to show some signs of change. It's just that girls are taught differently. Like we more of action. Like, okay, you say you change, then action. You're supposed to be doing this, and this right now.
Us, it's more natural.
Yeah.
I think we're born just wanting monogamy and wanting relationships, and you know, a lot of women don't see the red side, the red flags, and they get into relationships with men who really are not even ready to be into relationships mentally and emotionally, or don't even really want to. Right. And then so now they think, oh, this is just men don't want relationships, but you know, they do. But when they're ready to, right? Right. But Joseph, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I want to say like for women, like give us grace and grace in the space where you're allowing us to be someone else as opposed to what you've known men to be or what you've seen men to be. And when we want you, we'll let you know that we want you and we'll come after you. You don't have to do much. You don't have to try to play a position that's not for you. Put yourself in a space where I can see you present. And if I want you, I will come for you. And I will put everything I've been doing in my life aside to make sure that I keep you.
All right. I like that. Thank
It
you.
takes and to piggyback off what you said, and I know it takes a lot of vulnerability and sacrifice to do that too, women. It's just, I know it's not easy to do those things, because you still putting yourself out there, and it might not work. It might not work. He might not be the one for you, but you still have to put yourself out there. You have to put some money in the middle of the table to win, to get that reward, right? So you just can't sit there and don't do anything and think your Prince Charming is going to come. You have to put some risk out there. You have to risk something. My wife left. She stopped talking to me like years before I proposed, when we was about to just start a relationship, and she just left. She because I told her we was long distance. I said, you know what? I'm gonna be cheating on you. So if you can handle that, then I guess we can be in a relationship. And I was honest with her, because I knew myself. I was like, I'm not gonna see you every day, and this and that. And she was like, okay, that's cool. Next day, her phone she had a new number. Her friends was telling me, I don't know it. I couldn't get in contact with her. She had blocked me on Facebook and everything. And this went on for like a year. And not only did I lose my potential girlfriend or whatever, right? But she was my best friend, and that hurted me, right? I couldn't talk to her for a year, and she visited Chicago, and my mother saw her. And my mother saw her, she told me, and I just had my daughter. And my mother said, I just saw Karen at T-Mobile. And I said, which one? She told me. I got my daughter, put in the car seat, boom, boom, went to the car, raced up there, speed. I walked in, I saw her, and I looked at her, and I said, okay. And I walked out. Then she called me, and then we started back talking. And then she told me, like, when the last time we talked, you was I want to be with you, I love you, and this and that. But the way you was talking to me, I wasn't gonna go under those circumstances. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the risk that she took. She knew her worth, and she wasn't scared to like lose me, because she knew I wasn't ready. And if I was ready, I was gonna make myself ready. And at that moment, when she just disappeared out of my life, I made myself ready. Next time I saw her, and I got my shit together. So that's what I say by training. You don't train a dog by not doing nothing. You have to take stuff away from a dog or give them something. That's how you do. And with my case, she took something away from me, and that's what got me right. And a lot of women don't do that to me, and they just give them, if a man do, they just, okay, he'll do better. All that faith and that hope stuff is out the window. You have to actually do things to make a man, to get the outcome that you want from a man. And it's a risk. You might lose him. Okay, you lost him. That means that wasn't the man for you. Move on to the next one. And I know it's hard to move on to the next, because y'all don't want to be labeled a whore for dating too many men and stuff like that. But well, if you after something, go and get it. Don't worry about what nobody else say.
Okay. All right, y'all. I had a good time listening to you guys tonight. Good stuff. Thank you so much, Joseph, for joining us in the ladies' room. And for everybody out there, thank you all for tuning in. You gotta share. You gotta share it on your social media. Send it in a text to some friends. Put it on your social media pages. Let them know about the ladies' room. We have so much that we want to do, but we want to do it in front of you all. So go ahead, subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and you can hit the notifications button just to stay updated and aware of when we are live streaming and every time we post a video. But also, like I said, share. All right. To everybody out there, peace and good night.